The Easterlings have been cornered, and the forces of Dale and Dorwin look to exterminate them once and for all. Hey, how's it going? My name is Jackie Fish, and welcome back to another glorious Rise of Mordor custom map battle. We are diving right back in with the sub-mod, bringing the Dorwin faction, which is kind of like a sub-faction of Dale itself, looking very, very nice. Always loving the look of these guys when they are brought to bear against the forces of evil, just marching forward like the bad asses they are. If you guys are enjoying these battles and you want to see more Rise of Mordor on the channel, especially sieges, because I haven't done sieges in a little while, then make sure to drop a like and a comment down below. If this video does do pretty well, I'll definitely look to get some more replays for you guys, taking a look at the siege battles and all the lovely custom maps that they have in this mod. So if we go ahead and just take it on slow-mo real quickly whilst we just take a look at the map itself, because this map is a little bit old, but it's definitely a great one indeed. So we have these awesome like forested areas kind of round the back and to the side of the settlement, protecting it, giving a bit more cover to the defenders if they're going to set up ambushes. Also gives cover to the attackers if they're going to try and push through here and maybe attack from the rear of the settlement. But the fort itself does have some, hilly terrain to help, again, help them out a little bit. There's a river to their backs, which is pretty nice. We have the actual fort itself, where you're going to have archers scattered around defenders, keeping their, their men at bay. And then we have this outer village, which I always love when modders do this, kind of add a little bit more life to the settlement than just like a military building. They kind of give you a good idea of this is where the people, would live in the settlement and the surrounding areas. The fort is here to protect something, right? And it's to protect these guys right here. There's a nice little moat out there. Well, it's not really a moat, but it's a ditch going around the settlement, and there's several ways in you can attack. But one of the really cool things is all of these streets can be assaulted, so you can have these really kind of intense fighting going on in the middle of the settlement, which is again something I really like. There's not just one path in and one path out. There are all these little alleyways that can be abused and used to assault for the attackers, and it just goes ahead and means the defenders have to really kind of like spread out their attack and try their best to come through. The Eastlings are obviously going to be looking to have a heavy defense full of these units. And we're also using obviously the sub mod, so we're going to have some of these halberdier units, which look so good. I love the look of these weapons, and yeah, a bunch of other Eastling units just to go ahead and fill out their roster a little bit more. We are getting some artillery rounds coming in though from the attackers. You can already see a direct hit here, and that's going to send some of these Vargai warriors back a little bit, to try and avoid any more oncoming artillery. And it seems like the attackers are going pretty passive right now until the rest of their army is positioned, until that hook has kind of come completely around the formation and looked into kind of the settlement itself. But there is cavalry laying in wait for the Eastlings that can quite quickly pounce and get stuck in, so they again need to be very careful of that. The infantry fight is closing in and in, but doesn't look like anyone wants to commit, because the attackers also have to be very careful in a battle like this, because they can also be outflanked and attacked by all these different alleyways. If they commit their men into this fight, then there's two ways in that the defenders can get through and help out. As another volley comes in from Dale, looking to cause some havoc back here as the attacker or the defenders try and quickly reform up through these ditches. We're going to get a nice little counter volley going off though, as we do have the Eastling archers sending back a volley or two, some arrows back at their opponents. Let's turn down that sound a little bit, as it was a tiny bit loud. And you can see arrows flying back and forth on both sides. And there we go, the first infantry engagement has kicked off here. Also, sorry, I'm not using my reshade in this one, because in the desert, the reshade just looks really dark and not very nice. So I went ahead and turned that off for this battle. Hopefully it's not, hopefully it still looks fine. So we're going to be getting a minor engagement going on right now, just between this kind of weaker unit. I mean, this unit of footmen do look pretty heavily armored, but they're just kind of equipped with kind of minor maces and axes, nothing really too special. So the infantry engagement is going to be kicking off, at least in the center. We have some other units kind of matching up. The spearmen, the Winter Court Guard, don't really want to close the distance here because of them halberds. It's going to be a deadly fight, and they're just simply waiting until more reinforcements make their way inside of the settlement. Realistically, these shipmen are just going to be going through the market itself. and then pushing into the settlement. So it's going to be a bit, yeah, as I said, a slow assault to begin with, but I'm sure once they get going, things are going to heat up for sure. A lot of arrow fire focusing down on these Axeman warriors, and they've taken a big hit to their regiment for sure. But they have managed to get themselves stuck in, so that's going to kind of make up for it. But yeah, losing well over half the unit before even diving in that archer fire. I mean, the faction, you know, the Easterlings are fighting against some of the strongest, probably the strongest missile factions in the game. So these Axemen need to be wary, very, very wary of missile fire. But, you know, now they're stuck in, you can see the damage they're doing, just taking down that militia unit. And a unit of shipmen are going to have to come in to try and sturdy the ship. Hey, pun intended. Yeah, the Axemen are just such a deadly unit, and that's the reason why they were being focused down by all the missile fire. We're getting some more artillery rounds coming in, I think. Yeah, we're getting some artillery rounds coming in on the horses, which again is not a bad target. The artillery rounds surprisingly do quite a lot of damage onto horses if they get a good direct hit. It's just finding that direct hit to begin with. And now the cavalry is going to be making its way in. They need to be very careful though, because they don't want to use up all their ammunition this early on. They want to save it to maybe try and destroy a couple pieces of the fort wall because it's so important. So the Eastling archers getting a couple shots off here, just trying to, you know, rattle off a few volleys onto the shields of the, you know, of the oncoming attackers. But more artillery rounds coming in, causing some havoc, taking out a lot of horses as well. So you can already see how these horses are taking quite a hit. So they need to be very, very careful there. And you can see some infantry is now starting to come around. They have committed here. I imagine they've committed here simply just to, you know, keep this unit occupied more than try and break through it, whilst other units do continue to make their way through. I mean, realistically, there is a completely open position here if they wanted to get around. Obviously, they'd be counter-attacked quite quickly, but, you know, for example, you move these bad boys in, you kind of come around some more. You could quite easily exploit this and get around the back of these halberds, that's for sure. Some of the Dalian pikemen now going in. I don't really want to class these guys as pikemen because it's a very short pike. It's more like, you know, like a halberd more than anything else. They're not, yeah, they're more halberds than they are, even though it's not like a halberd weapon edge, but they're like the same kind of length of a halberd. So they're going to be getting in to try and duke it out and, you know, make some ground on that side, especially with more infantry breaking their way through. You know, normally when it comes to it, it's just a matter of time of how much the defenders can commit to this fight. You can already see the outflanking going in. But, I mean, these Axemen are holding their own. This might be a new fresh unit. Yeah, I mean, this is a fresh unit of Axemen. But look at that. They've routed 2 units before going down. The Men of Dale, under the heavy missile fire, are suffering. And, yeah, breaches, you know, are becoming hard to come by. A lot of this archer fire as well, focusing down more of the infantry. I mean, honestly, it wouldn't be a bad idea to try and push up these archers and try and take down, so like have an archer off with them, because killing archers not in loose formation is a pretty good idea in Rise of Mordor. When they go in loose formation, it's very hard to take them down, but everything else is good. And I mean, a lot of the archers are using up a lot of their ammunition, which is good as well. We've got some artillery rounds coming in over on this side. The Eastlings have a pretty nice position here, just shooting off some shots. I'm not sure if they're trying to destroy siege towers or what they're trying to take down. Maybe they're just trying to take down infantry. If they get a couple direct hits on the siege tower, though, that would go down and kill, obviously, everyone inside of it as well. So it's not a bad target if they want to try and take it down. But we are going to get the majority of the Dalian army going to be engaging what is remaining outside of the settlement. We're going to have, you know, decent units of halberds, which, again, I love the look of them. Oh, and a good deadly charge there. Going in, this is obviously a weaker unit. Just some scout cavalry going to be looking to harass. But they're taking a large hit of missiles. I think they're trying to maybe break the ranks and get through onto the Axemen or something, but they just don't really have the hitting power. You know, their horses don't have that weight to it that, say, like the Vineland or the Dalian horses have. But, you know, they're trying to break through. I'm not sure if they're going to make it. They're very depleted, yeah. I think the archer fire is going to bring them down. You've got archer fire from the fort, which looks so cool. And that's going to be enough to break them. I think they were trying to break through and get onto this artillery piece, but just couldn't quite make it to it. And I'm not sure how they're going to have to maybe, you know, abandon these siege towers and try and break through this infantry detachment first. And that's why I really like the way that they've gone ahead and deployed this infantry outside the wall. It's going to just disrupt the attackers. And that's one of the main things you've got to do when you're coming in to these siege battles. Another engagement in the streets as the Eastlings dive in against the shipmen. And you can see more Easterlings moving in the distance as artillery rounds are coming in now, looking to hit this dense block of Easterlings. Unfortunately, not finding a mark quite yet. There's 2 whole units sitting up here, so this definitely has to be a big focus for them. 1 direct hit in the center of this will kill like 50 guys, which is huge. The archer fire is also coming in and trying to take down these axemen as they look to outflank something. Oh, there's so many archers here. This is when you need like a couple units of cavalry to come in here or something. I mean, it honestly wouldn't be a bad idea to draw all these horses out here and try and maybe smash these. There's not a lot defending them, right? But it is quite hard to get them out of this now that they're being boxed in from both sides. I mean, it'd be so nice. I see exactly what these axemen are trying to do, but yeah, unfortunately didn't quite achieve it. Now, a lot of these archers are going to be taking down these halberds that are in point-blank range just right in front of them. Yeah, they're going to be taking an absolute pounding. There's not really much they can do. They can either charge forward and get enveloped or just sit there and get shot. I guess that's kind of their role now. The axemen have also now engaged. That's good. Getting your axemen involved in a melee so that they're not being shot at because of friendly fire is obviously also a pretty valuable thing to have. I also really like the broadswords. Like, these look like some like Dark Age swords as well that they're using. I actually really like the thick kind of, you know, Rohan type swords that they're wielding. I wonder as well if we'll ever see, like, I'm not sure, like, let me know in the comments, did the Easterlings ever use like a scimitar-esque weapon? Or am I just, you know, appropriating the culture by saying that, like, they would be using that because, you know, because I don't think, like, were scimitars actually used in his history quite a lot for a period, or were they just, you know, was it just the normal, like, you know, the normal type of swords that were used, and it's just kind of like a Hollywood stereotype? Because that's something I don't really know. I haven't really ever like researched it much. You know, most of my stuff comes from getting a rune skimmy, you know, after completing some quests. But back to the battle itself, there is still no assault over on this right-hand side. The infantry over on this left-hand side have pushed up, and I guess there's not really a lot stopping them, so they can actually get their siege towers into this wall quite early on if they want to. There's not as much stopping them. We've got some archers up on the wall, though, are volleying down. But yeah, as we saw, there's no real infantry, like, blocking the path of the siege towers, so they could start a really early assault on this fort if they wanted to. I wouldn't be surprised if they do just delay this, though, so that they can attack all in one. Oh, we've got some artillery coming in as well. Trying to maybe make a breach or two in the wall before going in on this, which, again, I like to see. The archers just firing off pot shots, but maybe it is worth just saving ammunition until they get a little bit closer, as they're not really doing too much damage. We're also getting a lot of horse archer fire coming in here. Who has horse archers? I guess, I mean, obviously these guys. Are they just, like, mounted rangers? Okay, that's cool. I'll dig that. And then just coming in to try and pick off, again, a few more of these halberds. Which, yeah, I definitely respect that kind of focus fire. It wouldn't be a bad idea to bring these guys back, maybe, because you're not really going to do much just with one unit of halberds, but maybe they're looking to get a quick charge in off on here or something. Does seem like the fighting in the village itself is going very, very well for the attackers. Besides on this left flank, this right flank is going great. They've managed to envelop the Eastling defenders here with the shipmen. The shipmen being a very, very potent attacking unit now since the more recent updates. And you can see there's some Lake Town Guard, who are such a fast unit as well. This Lake Town Guard unit can get around the map extremely quickly. This is definitely, whenever I play Dale, I definitely put a couple units of these with my horses, because they're just so deadly. I love the way that they just kind of move through the streets on this map. It's so awesome. Couple arrows, don't really have much weight to them though, so can't imagine too much damage. And again, the Lake Town Guard quickly maneuvering through here to get onto more of the warriors. Gonna leave them obviously very vulnerable to more missile fire, but again, this is like taking up a lot of archer fire quite early on. Oh, we're getting a cavalry movement out here. I wonder what this horse unit is up to. Is it just what's going on? It's gonna get countercharged. Oh, they get stuck if they charge into the back of their own men. That is catastrophic. This would be a perfect time to charge. And they're going to go in, but it's kind of almost a suicide move right there, because we're going to have the heavy paladins, and this paladin unit is insanely tanky. They're actually going to be charging through the reeds onto the infantry. And yeah, they're going to get ripped down by that charge. Wow, they did not stand a chance. Paladins are a very good unit in the sub-mod. And look at this, a lot of archer fire. This is a big waste. Oh, that's a good bit of a breakage on the wall as well, killing a few of these archers. But look at that, this unit of archers have lost half their unit, and they've literally done nothing to this unit of infantry. They lost half of their ammunition. And literally just not doing no damage at this range to these swordsmen. Taking out a few men here and there, but that shield wall proving very, very deadly. We are getting a infantry engagement out here, as it does seem like some of the axemen have charged forward, looking to get onto these siege equipments, which are being pushed up. Again, not a bad idea to try and dive on this, but the pikemen are going to be able to, you know, keep them at a bit of a distance. The heavy engagements. We even have the Easterling general out here, going very ballsy, looking to push back at the Vineland Guard, but the Vineland Guard are very, very strong. Always gets me I always get confused quite lately with the Vineland Guard, because I'm watching Vineland Saga, which is an anime based on Vikings at the moment. So I'm watching that whenever I'm talking to a friend about Vineland Saga, I always want to say Vinland Saga because of the Vinland Guard. Definitely a good recommendation if you're into anime and you want to watch more like historical. It's obviously not very historical because there's a lot of, you know, more elements in it which, you know, take away from that, but, you know, it's got some grounding in the Viking era, which is very, very cool, which there isn't really much out there like that, and has some really cool fight scenes as well, which are definitely, you know, worthy of your time. So if we take a nice look at the overall of the battlefield, you can see the village has now been secured besides a handful of units. The fort itself is being hammered heavily. They're picking up a very good defense out here and actually making pretty good progress at pushing back the attackers. Over on the left-hand side, though, the cavalry has been mainly defeated, and now the siege towers are making their way to the wall with a additional breach as well. And there's not really much up here. You can see the cavalry is moving extremely quickly into this. I mean, that's one of the advantages of having a fast-moving horseman unit, and they're going to be looking to harass these archers. Yeah, the rangers going in, drawing their blades and charging in and catching these archers as they try and flee. I mean, luckily they don't have any ammunition, so, you know, they're not going to be as efficient, but that's a big loss to you know, have. And I mean, realistically, I would fall back at this point. If I was the defenders, I'd be like, the outer defenders are lost, flee for your lives, retreat back to the inner city, because there is no hope. You know, when the breach happens at Helm's Deep and Theoden's like, withdraw your men, the walls are lost, or whatever he says, fall back to the keep. That's kind of the moment that it needs to be called right now. They need a retreat, they need to fall back, because, yeah, there's going to be many assaults and all these soldiers are going to get enveloped very quickly. I definitely like the fact, though, that the Easterlings have brought over a unit of their cavalry to this left-hand side to support their men, because it's very, very effective. You know, if they find any ways to, like, outflank their opponents, they can quite easily, like, maybe sending in a cavalry unit here. They're also using this as an opportunity to, you know, close range hit their artillery, which is being very effective. A lot of damage off on this shipman unit. And honestly, if they wanted to, I think they did exactly that with this siege tower, but they could destroy more of these siege towers as well, because they are so close. They would easily be able to take these bad boys down. And that would not only kill the men inside of it, but it also reduced their ability to assault this fort as the battle continued on. So definitely wouldn't be surprised if they did maybe try and turn their fire there. Oh, some cavalry coming in, though. Some northern scouts have managed to break their way through, and they are taking a couple of volleys there by the Easting. Oh my god, a lot of cavalry going down. But a handful of brave warriors have broken through and trying to take down this artillery, at least stop it shooting for as long as possible. Oh, there's also another breach right there. Yeah, the defenders are looking very hard pressed, I think. And this is exactly what I was scared of. The cavalry coming around. I mean, obviously they're going to be very vulnerable to this missile fire, but the cavalry can hit these units in the back. We are getting some of the halberds turning around, which do look very cool, and kind of warding off these horses. But it's going to leave them very vulnerable to archer fire as well, as they'll move up more and more of their missiles into fighting ranges. And breakages are happening on this right-hand side. You can see gaps appearing in the battle line. I mean, to be fair, though, a lot of these axemen have done a very good job. If we can zoom in on these ones, I want to see how many kills that they're on. You see a few heads just going around. Over 150 kills, which is not bad. Not bad at all. Oh, his head just getting sliced right off. More of Vidalian cavalry coming in to try and turn the tides of this fight with the axes. Ooh, who the hell are these guys? Eastern Nordic archers. These guys look sick. I really like the look of them. The yellow undertone looks very cool. And I'm a big fan of their, like, Dothraki-esque swords. I guess they're like the scimitars I was kind of talking about. These are probably more widely used than, say, a traditional scimitar. But I'm still very interested if you do know. I mean, I'm sure you've already let me know in the comments, like, were weapons like that widely used, or was it more just kind of like, you know, like a normal sword? A normal blade? Yeah, and they're obviously not going to stand a chance against the Vinland Guard. Vinland Guard, god damn it. And they're up to 200 kills, and I'm sure there's plenty more to be had, so a very deadly unit. And you're going to really see infantry breaking their way through. They've got cavalry now, is it a paladin unit? No, it's just a unit of horses from Durawin who have engaged against the Bane of the Steppes. But infantry is turning up to help turn that battle in their favour. You can see more breaches, another breach actually occurring, and the fighting over on this side has erupted as the shipmen try and break through, but obviously they're going to be very vulnerable to missile fire as they, you know, are so elevated. It's going to be quite easy for the archers to pick their targets. And that's going to cause a lot more casualties than they would like. They're also obviously breaching this part of the settlement as well, trying to make their way through. And, you know, getting some more infantry up on these walls, which is exactly what they're doing. Obviously going to try and, you know, just go through all these other different entrances, try and draw as much infantry away. And that's why I'm saying, like, just abandoning this position. I mean, it's not necessarily bad to keep on assaulting here, because unless, you know, infantry gets sent around here, they can hold back a large portion of the attacking army. I mean, balance of power is looking pretty devastating for the defenders, but they are here to make their last stand. The scenario was that the Easterlings have been cornered into their fort, so it'd make a lot of sense that the attackers have a overwhelming advantage right here. I also like the good use of the barricades as well to protect some of your infantry, using the enemy defenses against them. Right here. And they are making a good stand, right? They are repelling. I mean, that's a pretty deadly position right here. They are going to be the focus of a lot of the missile fire, but I really like the way the defenses are set up here. It looks very, very cool. But yeah, all the archers are going to be just hammering this and slowly ticking away the HP. Oh, the artillery rounds coming in. That was a devastating hit. Yeah, I think these guys are not long for this world. Missile fire to break up artillery fire to break up the formation, and then having that archer volleys coming in over and over and over again. Would not fancy being these Easterlings inside the settlement, and now they're just, you know, thrusting more infantry into this fight. I'm surprised they're not committing more around, like just trying to outflank, but I guess they're content just trying to push through there. And yeah, now on this side, all the positions have been taken up, so more siege towers moving over. They don't really have the men to defend all these breaches if they wanted to. They could quite easily come in from every single angle. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw some of the infantry maneuvering around and, yeah, marching just to soften this up, because there's a lot of infantry. Granted, it's a lot of depleted infantry, but there's a lot of soldiers here that could be brought into bear. You even have some archers over on this side as well. Now, they're in a very good position here, softening up the rear guard there. Again, just focusing down large points of the defenses. And I think a couple more volleys and maybe these shipmen will be diving in. There's not really any archers left as well. There's a handful of archers actually that the defenders have. Some lone archers charging out bravely. And the farmers are going to go in. Vineland farm infantry are going to be going in as well, using whatever weapon they have at their disposal. Oh, I'm getting his head sliced cleaned off. That one getting knocked to the ground. And the farmers are going to be beaten back. They are the weakest link. More infantry moving in as well. Yeah, and a bit more, you know, well-trained archers going in to finish off the job now. And yeah, their huge numbers are going to give them that advantage. Infantry coming through this gap yet? No, not quite yet, but very soon. We're getting archers who are out of ammunition, going to have to draw their swords. I mean, I guess these are kind of maybe more of a blades. Like, they're, you know, they are a curved blade, so maybe it's more of this blade I'm talking about. A shipman jumping off onto the walls. There's a lot of arrows into the side. They should have heeded Gandalf's advice and shot the trolls, not the tower. And the fighting on the walls does commence. You got some more soldiers coming over quickly. They do look very cool. They're probably pretty tired at this point. They're going to be marching through the settlement. Going to get over there as quickly as possible. Well, as quickly as possible, I say, as they're marching slowly. We're going to regain their breath and their fighting spirit. That's why. They would be able to, they're going to be quite, needed on this side, because these step archers aren't, or nomadic archers aren't going to be, able to hold for long. And there's, it's not really like a huge assault here. A lot of these units are fairly depleted, but we're only going up against one unit of the infantry. The archers charging in here as more archer fire comes in. I mean, to be fair, the amount of resources this unit has taken has been very effective. So you've got to respect that. Unit of archers coming around there as well. They're going to be looking to break this. I mean, even with archer fire as well. But all they needed is, they just need some cavalry to come around. We need the paladins to move around and hit this in the back. That would be perfect for them and would allow them to break through here. Because right now the halberds are, doing their job. They're keeping the enemy at a distance, and the swords are kind of shielding for them at the same time. So, yeah, very, very effective stuff. Over on this side, you've got infantry still trying to break through, but again, the halberds are deadly. Over on this side, though, we do see a small detachment of Durawin infantry who have made some progress. But are going to be getting snuffed out kind of quickly, but they're keeping units at bay, I guess, which is an advantage. And all this is what we always wanted to see. Archers have now been brought up onto the walls, and now these guys are going to be able to start shooting very effectively down on their opponents. I guess they're just waiting for a target. They can quite quickly rinse this unit of halberds down here, or this unit of halberds, I should say, as soon as they give them the order to fire. So, yeah, very deadly stuff. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if we saw this unit of infantry go on the walls to counter this, because this is like the nail in the coffin right there. For the most part, though, they are putting up a steady fight on the walls. They still haven't given an inch, really. They have made the Men of Dale have made a beachhead, but that's about it. They are being held in place for now. Oh, wow, somehow cavalry has made it through. That was I mean, must have catched them when they weren't formed up or something. But now we've got cavalry with Dalian swords just charging through here. Obviously taking a lot of casualties. There is a beautiful kind of ambush position right there with the archers coming in. But some horses have come through, and they've mainly just caused a huge disruption in the Easterling shield wall, which, they're going to capitalize on. You can see more infantry moving their way forward. And yeah, that also, I mean, even though the cavalry kind of sacrificed themselves, that's going to be a perfect opportunity to charge through and catch the Eastlings with their pants down a bit, because they're no longer going to be in that shield wall. And now, yeah, as we said, the archers are up here shooting down, ranging in here. Oh, there's actually a unit of Eastlings moving up on the walls. This is exactly what I said would have happened. And it's a very good move there by the defending player. Catching them a little bit off guard, and maybe we're going to have to send a few more infantry units in on this fight. I love this archer position up here as well. Always looks really cool seeing something like this. Oh, the artillery rounds coming in as well. Very, very cool. A couple arrow volleys as well. A lot of the Dalian archers are being focused in on this big clump at the gates. I mean, realistically, there's no reason to really leave these guys here yet, and you can see exactly that. They're going to be falling back a little bit, spreading out so they don't get hit, because they're not, you know, under pressure there whatsoever. And a small rout right here. The infantry of the Easterlings are fighting for their lives. It'd be a really good idea if they have anything left that can take this down. I don't think they do. It'd be such a good idea to focus like your lot. Like, it's so close to going down. Man, I wish they had something left to do, but I don't think they do. I think they ran out completely of artillery, which is such a big shame. It'd be so nice if they just one more volley. Because this is something I love to do in siege battles. Oh, perfect! It's supporting fire. Who shot that? Who actually shot that? There's no artillery I can see. Literally, I'm blind. Where the hell did that shot come from? Was it these guys? Did the Vineland patrol shoot? Because none of this artillery has any ammunition left. It must have been over here, right? But I can't see the artillery piece. I must be blind. Maybe you guys can see it. But either way, that's huge, because now they can quite quickly exploit that gap that is, you know, appeared, and the defenders don't really have the men to stop this. They are obviously receiving a lot of missile fire in the back again from these guys, but they're going to be out of ammunition soon. And as soon as they are, I mean, they're on 200 kills, which is very nice. But you can already see the Vineland infantry. No, Vineland infantry. I had it right the first bloody time. They're coming in now, and they're obviously a very elite unit, and they've already woke one here, so they're going to breach their way through and open up these defensive positions, and there's literally nothing to send. You can see one infantry unit going in, but besides that, there's nothing. These archers can quite easily move in if they wanted to. And finish off this battle. Some cavalry is going to be moving in, obviously, to exploit this gap and, you know, probably rear charge one of these units. These archers are getting access to, like, use of every single volley, though. Oh, they might be using the supply wagon to replenish the ammunition as well, maybe. Wouldn't be a bad idea. Because the longer these guys keep their ammunition, they're going to be racking up a lot of kills. But yeah, the cavalry is pouring in now to look to try and make any breach possible. And what we need to do as well is take out this one unit of infantry, which would be so huge. I mean, they finally, oh my god, they've finally broken through here as well. But I don't think it's going to be enough. I think the battle is probably going to, you know, end. There's 2 minutes left. I think it's probably going to be over way before all of these infantry pour in. I mean, it doesn't really look very hopeful. But they will make a valiant last stand, which we will watch to the bitter end. I really do love these custom map sieges. They're always so much fun. So I guess I want to give a big shout out to the guys who sent this in. I really appreciate it. So thank you guys so much for sending this in. As, you know, without these guys, we wouldn't be having these epic replays. So, as I said, big shout out to the guys playing this over on the ROM Discord. You'll be able to see all the players towards the end of the battle itself. You can just see this bloodbath occurring at the breach. With the cavalry coming through now, I think, yeah, a rear charge here. Oh, this is going to be devastating. These guys aren't braced or anything. They need to form shield all quickly. They just tried, but yeah, they're going to get run through there. Smashed to the ground, trampled underfoot, and then moved on. Your entire unit just got decimated. And I think that's going to be, you know, the last kind of real killing blow here in this battle. We can probably just triple speed the last minute or so as, yeah, infantry moves up. The cavalry continues to cause mayhem. The enemy general goes down. And you can see this unit has already got 100 kills. Last couple of volleys going in on that poor unit. And this big bulk of infantry didn't even need to get stuck into the battle itself. And there we have it. The battle is over. The last remaining Easterling unit on the wall is now being dealt with, surrounded by infantry. But a valiant defense, I think, for them, for sure. But a Pyrrhic victory for the attackers. So let's quickly take a look at the kills, and once again a massive shout out to all 4 of these players for, you know, partaking in this battle. I'm pretty sure Lolwat went ahead and hosted this battle as well, so I appreciate that as well. At least he sent it in to me, so I'm very thankful to him. So if you take a look at the kills, we'll start off with Dale, the Vinland Guard, doing a very decent job there. Down onto the Durawin side of things, once again, their archers racking up a fair amount of kills, so pretty impressive there. And the artillery, you know, making good breaches. Over on the Easterling side of things, you can see their infantry and the halberds doing a very nice job. And then finally, on the other Easterling side of things, we do have, the nomadic archers being the real MVPs of the defensive side. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that battle. If you want to see more Rise of Mordor on the channel, be sure to drop a like and a comment down below, and I'll see you guys in the next one.